Hey there, beautiful people. I have not done a live on Facebook by myself ever. I've only ever done this with Sam, so bear with me for a second here. So I gotta try to remember how to be able to talk to people. So I'm jumping on to kind of do just some like group coaching, intuitive messages that are coming in right now because I am seeing a lot of, all right, here we go. And we're good. Now you can see if people comment. All right. Hi. Maria here. So yeah, this was a super spontaneous jump online, do a Facebook Live by myself, mostly because I'm seeing a lot of collective themes right now happening for a lot of people. I've had certain people reach out to me individually with things that they're navigating. And this does kind of coincide with predictions that Sam, my beautiful business partner, has pulled forward for this summer. There's a lot of shakeup for a lot of people. And so I kind of just wanted to jump on and share my message of trust the fall, what that means. Because what I'm feeling for a lot of people right now is like a hitting of rock bottom, so to speak. And that could be in terms of relationship, job, living situation. It could be all of the above, right? But there is definitely a kind of rock bottom that a lot of people are experiencing right now and having a really hard time navigating it, and understandably so. So that's why I really wanted to pop on. I can also see a common thread or theme around finances, money, and understand that that is our root chakra. And so, it's no secret that our economy is a shit show, but it has been for quite some time. And we can sit here and blame political parties if we want, but it's really just the way that the system is designed to enslave us. And so it has nothing to do with who's supposedly, running our country, because that's all a facade. And the more that we get kind of bogged down in those paradigms, it keeps us enslaved in that energy, right? Which is fear and control and manipulation. And money is just a form of energy exchange. And it is a huge reflection of our self-worth, right? And I can tell you that the collective fear around money is very real, right? Because we live in a matrix that has sort of forced us to have to need money, right? But when you can go a little bit deeper with that and realize that money is truly a symbol of worthiness and value, you can start to realize why money might be scarce in your personal life right now, or why that theme is coming up. Because really, the message is around security and self-worth and value. And so I want to just kind of start there because I'm seeing like my Facebook feed is like flooded with people having financial issues. And a lot of people are angry at the system, angry at the world for creating that reality for them. And yes, there is a truth to that, right? Because we are in a matrix that we did choose into that uses money as a form of enslavement. But it can also be a reflection of our freedom as well when we start to really embody our own worthiness. And part of that starts with being able to have compassion for the victim that we've been in this lifetime while simultaneously stepping out of that victim mindset. Because if all of these like things are crashing down in our life right now, or all these things are happening to us in our life right now, there is an energetic component that we are embodying, and it's usually fear, right? Limitation, insecurity. But to me, that's all rooted off of the energy of fear. And so why are these things happening to us, right? Well, it's a reflection again of some belief system that we're embodying about ourselves. And so then the world comes in and validates it for us, right? Through our human experiences. And so I've learned in this journey that it's a balancing act of being able to have compassion and hold space for the victim within me that has endured a lot of abuse and trauma in this lifetime, while simultaneously knowing that my soul chose those things because I am a badass and my human is waking up to that remembering, right? And so that helps me step out of victim. But one of the concepts that really started helping me to stop blaming the world was again, seeing within me the energetic component or the energetic piece that is a match for these experiences coming into our life, right? And then it's being able to take accountability for that. Not from a place of shame, certainly not from a place of shame, because that's actually what keeps us in these cycles that keeps us repeating life experiences over and over, maybe with different people, but the energy of the experience is the same, right? It's because we're still the same. We're still embodying the same limiting beliefs. We're still embodying the same fears. We're still embodying the same shame and guilt. And so everything in this world is energetic before it's physical. And when you can really like grasp that concept, it's very freeing, honestly, because you start to like, for me, I see the physical secondary now because I see the energy behind what's creating that physical manifestation. And so it's like, all right, yeah, I see physically what's happening here in XYZ, but what is the energy that's creating this experience? What's the energy in me that is co-creating these experiences with my outside worlds? And so trust the fall was one of the biggest messages that I started receiving since I started walking this remembering journey, this remembrance journey, healing journey, evolving journey, really just the return to myself. Um, and I like my guides. Well, first it actually started with just trust, right? It was just the word trust all the time. I was getting it all the time. And I remember being like, what am I supposed to trust? And initially the message was you. You're supposed to trust you, Maria. Trust you. And I'm like, all right. So that helped me start building this trust in my intuition. And then the message kept getting a little bit louder, and it was like, all right, you're starting to trust you. So now trust everything that's unfolding in your life, good, bad, indifferent. Trust it. And I can tell you that that sounds beautiful, like on paper, it sounds beautiful, me verbalizing it, but for the human to actually be able to do that when things in their life are literally self-destructing or being destroyed from something external, it's really hard to anchor in that trust. But I promise you, that is when the energy of trust is most needed. Because again, are we actually trusting ourselves in life when there's like a fear around it or a judgment around it? Are we actually trusting life when we're actually trying to control our life, right? That's not trusting life when we're trying to micromanage our thoughts and micromanage our emotions and even micromanage our behaviors. Because a lot of us that are walking this, we'll just call it self-awareness journey, it's very easy to start to feel like there's all these things we need to fix about ourselves, right? That's not what I mean about like taking accountability. We don't have to fix ourselves. What behooves us to do in this lifetime is to love ourselves, all versions of ourselves, all behaviors, all programs within our humanness. Because once we start to love those things, we accept them. And then we simultaneously forgive them. And then we simultaneously are shown what of those behaviors are no longer mimicking this energy of self-love that we're holding for ourselves. Because those are the ones that are asking to be acknowledged and released. But again, We all do that on an individual basis, as every single one of us is ready to do that. This is an energy game. You can't control evolution, the collective's evolution and our own evolution. You can't control it. You can't even really control your thoughts. I believe that that's kind of, you know, I feel like that teaching is a disservice to us because, again, that's what I mean about like micromanaging our thoughts and micromanaging our emotions. We're energetic beings, and thoughts and emotions are energy. This journey is about becoming aware of what are these thoughts telling me about myself, about how I see the world? What are these emotions telling me about how I feel about myself and how I feel about the world? Because that's where the medicine is. That's where the information is. And that's where we start to have compassion for all aspects of our human. And that is how you step out of that victim, right? Because what I can tell you about being trapped in that victim mentality, it is so draining on our energy fields. Like you hear people talk about giving our power away. That's giving our power away, is staying stuck in that, woe is me. The world did this to me. Nobody's there for me, right? And maybe that is all very true. I'm not negating that for us. But again, what is the energy within ourself that has co-created that experience, that has literally called that into our reality? Because things don't just happen. They don't. Not in this world of energy. There are energetic matches for the things that happen in our life. Otherwise, they would not happen in our life. And so for me, that's why becoming aware of my fears, aware of my insecurities, aware of my limiting beliefs and limitations is so important, but empowering. More than anything, it's empowering because it's like, whoa, well, that's why this experience keeps happening to me because I'm literally a vibrational match for it based on this insecurity or based on this perspective of the world. And so energy is just going to continue to validate the energy that we have inside of us. The external energy will just continue to validate. And that's why for me, I've always used the external world as my mirror, not as have I gone through phases of blaming the system and people in my, of course, I'm human. We're all human. But I've also in that realized how disempowering that is and how that literally just keeps you in this perpetual state of shit show, honestly. And so this sort of rock bottom that the collective is experiencing right now is going to continue. And it's really just to show you energetically where you're at. Honestly, that's what it, use it as a mirror. And I promise you, it will start to lead you to your truths, right? I just want to see real quick. I just don't want to ignore if people are commenting. I don't think there's really anybody watching this right now, but totally fine. So I'm making this video and it's going to serve someone somewhere. And it's serving me right now because it's helping me just express what I am feeling from the collective and feeling for the collective. Because I see all these posts of people, and this is not a judgment, it's observation, but people are asking for money, right? And so I'm like, ooh, people are desperate right now. People are really like their root chakras are being ripped up right now to be shifted, to be elevated, right? But if we can't see that, we will continue to fall further into that, which is fine. Because again, trust the fall, right? Trust the fall of everything. And so to go back to even that message of trust and how it's kind of evolved in my journey in these last 8 years, it was first trust yourself. Okay, cool. I'll trust myself. I'll trust this intuitive guidance that's coming in for me. Okay, so then the message evolved into trust what's happening in your life because now that you have trust for yourself and that you can navigate anything, well, then trust these experiences that are happening in your life, especially the most painful ones, the most earth-shattering, rose-colored glasses shattering, illusion, delusion shattering. Like, trust that fall. And last year on May 5th, so on the 5/5 portal of 25, I did a very powerful mushroom ceremony with someone else. And that is when the message of trust the fall came in so loud. And it had to do with trusting the fall of Gaia. And I was brought to all of these versions of the earth that we've created, are being created, will be created, right? Because time and space is truly an illusion. And when you connect outside of that, you're like, holy shit, this is literally all happening at the same time. This is all happening right now. But if I want to speak in terms of like linear perspective, because that's where most of us still live from, um, I was shown basically like the original blueprint of the earth in its fifth dimension state of awareness, consciousness, and how Mother Earth, so I'll just refer to her as she, even though it's she and he, because it's all one and the same. Um, she created an agreement with humanity, with all of every living being that was living on her. We created an agreement to do an experiment to drop her physicality into a denser dimension, hence the third dimension, right? And so the third dimension is what third and fourth is what majority of us are operating from right now. Um, and in that, fear is the master manipulator. So hence why I say being able to identify our fears that are deeply in there, like the subconscious ones, the unconscious ones, is the freedom that we're seeking from the external world. Because once you can acknowledge it, you can face it. You can start to choose to face it. Let me put it that way. Doesn't mean, and I've said this in a multitude of things I've shared, this doesn't mean you walk through life fearless. Quite the opposite. You start to become so aware of how fear is in everything. It's like, holy fuck, that fear is literally everywhere. But now I can see it. Now I can discern how it feels in my body, and I can actually use it as a powerful teacher and a powerful tool. Because all the fear is really here to do is return us to our love. That's the irony. But if we cannot address these fears, acknowledge these fears, face these fears, well, then we don't ever fully embody the love that our soul self truly is. So trust the fall got louder. Certainly with the mushroom journey last year, it was like it was shown to me on a collective level of what trust the fall meant. But about 2.5 years ago, trust the fall was coming in loud for me. Well, I'll say it started 3 years ago because it's been about 2.5 years since my marriage imploded. And about 6 months before that, I kept hearing trust the fall, trust the fall. And I'm like, oh my God, like trust the fall of my marriage. And it's like, yep, yep, because it's happening and you know it. And you can sit here and use your very powerful mind to bypass the reality of what's happening. And you can continue to try to wear a mask and sweep things under the rug about your marriage and swallow your voice. But this is falling away for you, Maria, because it's meant to, for both of you. It's meant to free you. And I just remember it coming in so loud. And the day that I finally said, I am done, was like, trust the fall. I literally felt a weight come off my shoulders. And then I fell into massive states of grief. And I'm still navigating that grief because grief is an evolving journey. I'm a grief recovery coach. I know the energy of loss and change very well. It's something that I've chosen to dive deeper into. And why do we want to experience this as humans, right? And it's been so powerful being able to dive into the things that most of us don't want to talk about and sure the fuck don't want to feel. Um, And that's honestly what trust the fall means. It's trust the falling away of even the things that we thought were good for us, right? Because in fear, we create a lot of our own illusions and delusions, or the ego creates that to keep the human comfortable. But what it does is it keeps the human in the same life karmic cycles over and over and over, and you never break the loop. Uh, and so to me, breaking the loop or breaking free again is saying to myself, all right, if I know this place to be an energetic realm and I'm an energy being and everything in and outside of me is energy, and I will only experience that with which I'm a vibrational match for, well, then I need to go in deep and figure out what these sort of stuck energies are within me, these limiting beliefs, these traumas that I haven't allowed myself to acknowledge and feel. And in that, you literally come out the other side of that rabbit hole with so much more compassion and insight and wisdom for yourself and then for the entire world. Because again, if you choose to use the external world as your mirror, when you embody true unconditional love and compassion for yourself, you can't not have that for the outside world. It doesn't mean that you tolerate bullshit. That's not what I mean about being able to have compassion for the people that hurt us, right? It's being able to say, look, they hurt me because they're hurting, and I invited that in because I was hurting. So it's nobody's fault. It's energy. But now that I know that, I'm going to choose differently in this next experience, maybe this next relationship. I'm going to choose to become more self-aware, more conscious, so I'm not energetically calling these experiences in. But also understand too that we will continue to call experiences in until we individually are ready to grow from it, to evolve from it, to shift from it. And some people never do in this lifetime. They just don't. And that's fine. That's their human choice. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I just felt like coming on and sharing all this because there are a lot of people, like lots of people that I'm seeing in states of like despair and just feeling defeated and like, what the fuck is this that I signed up for? And why am I even here anymore? And what am I doing? Right? Like, I also go through phases of that. I am a human. And because I am so in tune and so aware, I go through stages and phases like that a lot. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm here to experience being human in whatever way my soul self has kind of set into motion for this physical experience, this lifetime. I just want to make sure that there's nobody commenting or asking any questions. I think there's like one person watching me right now. Awesome. Feel free to throw in a question or a comment or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I was hoping to get some interaction from people on here, which is why I didn't just like make a video and throw it on YouTube. But totally fine too that there's no one interacting at this now moment. I know the right people will watch it after and probably get a lot. And feel free to comment afterwards if after you watch this it you think I'm batshit crazy or it resonates or it helps or whatever. If you have questions, like I love to be able to just share my human journey with people and what I learned from it in every now moment, because I honestly feel like that is how one of the many ways I'm here to serve, because I can be real about me and what I've gone through. I don't really hold anything back. I'm pretty much an open book because I have nothing to hide. And so it has been reminded to me this week that a giant part of my embodied medicine is my vulnerability and also my authenticity, my ability to just like be real with people. I love you, Derek. I love you very, very much. And I send you lots of love on your journeys and travels. Also, remember this. I shared this today with one of my beautiful soul sisters, and we're doing some shamanic journeying together. And we were talking in terms of the actual journeying. And I told her something that my shamanic teacher taught me years ago that has rang true in everything now in life. But we all get the journey we need. It may not be the journey that our human ego is desiring at this now moment, or for several years, or some people it's a whole lifetime. Um, but we get the journey we need because again, the universe is not working against us. The universe is you. It's working with you. Again, it's a reflection of the vibration that you're carrying. And so if you can use that understanding to like your advantage to basically like what's the word I'm looking for like the I don't know, but basically if you can use that concept to hack life, it's a great life hack. Honestly, it's being able to go, all right, so like the universe is literally, it's not rewarding me and it's not punishing me, it's reflecting back to me where I'm at right now energetically. And thank you, universe, for revealing that to me, right? I've had a lot in this last week be revealed to me that was fucking super uncomfortable. But once again, trust the fall. And on the other side of trusting that fall and allowing myself to just surrender to the experience of what was happening, it's like, all right, I know this is here for me. And like, I know we hear a lot of people talk about that. Oh, this is happening for me, not to me, right? And it's a beautiful concept because it's true. But I also know a lot of us have a hard time really embodying the belief because we're still stuck in our own victim cycle. But it is true. Nothing is happening to us. It is happening for us, even the worst fucking things. Like, and I can literally sit here and say that as someone who has endured some of the shittiest, hardest human experiences that we as a collective have created in this dimension. And I can honestly sit here and tell you that I'm grateful for all of it. I am, all of it, because all of it continues to lead me deeper into who I am, my truth, my knowing, which is my love. And it also enables me to hold space for a lot of people because a lot of us have endured some really dark stuff in this lifetime and in other lifetimes. So understand too that as humans, we're carrying all timelines. We're carrying the energy of our ancestors because again, it truly is time and space is an illusion. And energetically, all of those time periods, timelines are still playing out like on a record player. They're still there. And so we feel that because we are connected. I just want to, Derek said, I feel it's trying to eat me sometimes. 1000%. I can relate to that. Um, Eating, that's an interesting way of describing how, like, the feeling of it. And I love it because it's like, all right, so if you feel like it's trying to eat you, the message coming in right now is like consumption, consumption. What are you consuming right now in the external worlds? What is consuming you in your own thought patterns? What narratives are like, I'm hearing like playing in the background? Because those are the things that are sort of determining like how you're showing up in your life and how you're navigating different things that are coming up in your experience. I love that you used the word eat because also like as you say that, I'm seeing parasites and understand that parasitic energy is something that again, it's just fear consciousness. And as humans, we get parasites all the time in our physical bodies, but also understand that that starts with an energetic thing. And so parasites can only live in hosts that are a frequency match for that. And I had this conversation with someone the other day about cancer, and she was just talking about how like cancer is a very real fear because it runs in her family. And then, of course, you have the system that just continues to validate like um, our genes and like what we are susceptible to. And so then we as a collective adopt that belief system. And that is what I also believe creates a lot of the disease in our body. Because I also know now, and for those of you that don't know, like I'm also a nurse. So I believed the science for a long time. Let me just tell you. Until I started to realize that the science they teach us is very, very limited and very controlling. And I get why. And so I also very much believe in the quantum realm of limitlessness because that is what allows me to be able to tune into everything I can tune into and feel into. But parasites, cancer is just, well, I won't say it's just, but cancer is a metaphor. It's a physical manifestation of collective fear consciousness. It is fear. Hence why, like, even when we say the word, like, what do people feel in their body immediately? Fear. Because what do we associate with cancer? Death. Or a very long, dragged out time of suffering and misery, right? Because that is what we have created here. But what I explained to this individual was what I've been shown, and Sam and I have been shown, that knowing that parasites need a certain environment, right, to be able to live there. They need the host to be in a weakened state. And all of us are because we eat shitty food, even when we try to eat healthy food, majority of our shit is contaminated. Like it is just what it is. And so you got to be aware of that too. I mean, we can do the best we can do, but it's also acknowledging that there's a shit ton of things in our environment that act as catalysts for the cancer and act as catalysts for disease. But the energetic process that's happening first within our body is that we're riddled with fear and trauma and stuff that we haven't allowed the body to process. And so now physical parasites will start to accumulate there. And over time, if we do nothing about it, it'll start off as like this symptom and that symptom, and then another symptom. And then before you know, it's full blown cancer, right? And you could do your own research. There is even plenty of research out there that would validate everything I'm saying. So if it's a little too woo woo for you, feel free to go down those rabbit holes, but also just feel into the message of the message, the energy of the message I'm sharing. Like I can feel the truth in it. I know it's me. And so parasite cleanses are a great thing for every human to do. I've done a few, and now I have committed myself for now until my body intuitively tells me differently. I'm going to do them like every 3 months because it felt really good. And for me, everything I do on the physical level is also energetic. So I'm very intentional. So even when I did like the last parasite cleanse I did, I literally set the intention as I was taking it to help, rid of my physical parasites, but also bring into my awareness the energetic parasites I'm still allowing into my space and help me to release those as well. And I felt so much lighter afterwards. So I went on this whole thing about parasites, but when you mentioned like you feel like it's trying to eat you sometimes, the first thing I saw was parasites. So maybe lean into what in your life is parasitic. And what I mean by that is what's another word than the ones we've already, just help me out, Spirit. What is literally it's like pulling at you, right? It's like poking and pulling, poking and pulling. Look in within yourself. Again, I'm feeling it's more your own sort of, it's the thoughts, it's the experiences, it's the feelings towards other people right now that are draining you. And so it's that in and of itself is feeding any parasites that might be living in your body, which also will have an impact on your ability to see clearly and make the next aligned move for yourself. And so again, everything is multidimensional, everything's holistic. It's not just physical, it's not just energetic, it's all of the above. So it's being able to see that it's all of the above and that we as individuals are all of the above. We're multidimensional. So again, when you feel like these things are happening to you, so I can use another example. In the last, well, it was like, I don't know, maybe about a month ago. Yes, a month ago. I had about a week and a half of energies that had not infiltrated my life for a while start infiltrating my life, but in a way that it was very attacking. It was very like non-consensual behavior coming at me. And I'm like, whoa, why is this happening to me? Right? The human at first, like, oh, let me cry about this for a minute and then let me like get real for another minute and go and understand when I say that I'm not bypassing my feelings. It's just that I can move through my emotions of things a lot quicker now than in the past because I'm like, all right, I can sit in this dwelling of like, why are they doing this to me? I didn't do anything to them, and I didn't. And that was all valid feeling. But then it was like once that moved through me, I'm like, okay, like what energy in me is calling this behavior in? Because there must be something not in alignment within my own auric field, my chakra system, that has allowed that energy to re-infiltrate. And once I asked that, I then just trust. That's again, you trust. You trust the information to come in as it's meant to come in. And you let it be. You don't have an expectation to like needing an answer right then and there. And the more you can just trust that the information will come in when your human is ready to receive it clearly, it's like, oh, just broke free from that. And now I can forgive them for their behavior. And now I can set firmer boundaries for myself. Because for me, it was all about boundaries, which is the case for a lot of us. But that particular experience was about boundaries. And I was not having, we'll say, I was having like inconsistent boundaries. And so it makes sense to me, like, why all of a sudden it was like three or four energies of like people that I hadn't talked to in some time and had kind of like, as my friend Ryan would say, like put them outside my gate in a sense, because I did set a boundary, but then I realized where I wasn't setting boundaries. And so I was a perfect host match for that parasitic energy, right? So when you feel like something outside of you is trying to consume you, trying to eat you, use that as a reflection and go, what am I over consumed by right now? What am I overly consuming? What is overly consuming my mind? Right? Because then that is the energetic signal that you're giving out to the universe. And it's like, all right, cool. That's what you're putting out. So that's what you're going to keep getting back as an experience. That's the law of attraction. Um, and law of attraction, I think, is also another concept that has been watered down in a sense, or just not explained fully for people. And that's why I think people believe that they have a hard time manifesting, um, because of the way I've seen the law of attraction taught and the way that I understand it from my own journey is like literally the law of attraction means whatever energy or energies that are most alive in my body right now, that's what I'm going to call in from the external world. And again, it will be validated in a multitude of ways through just our experience with people. Let's see if any, there's another, I'm bad at like, sometimes I'll just go on. And if there's people actually asking me questions, then I'm not great at seeing it. But thankfully, no, staying right on target right now. Probably because I only have two of you on, but love it. Thank you for being here and trusting the fall. Because you're probably like, what is she talking about? Trust the fall. So, what does that mean for you as an individual? What is actually what is actually happening in your life? And of those experiences, what do you feel it's showing you about what's ready to fall away? And again, it can be your own belief systems. It doesn't have to be something tangible. The tangible happens when our energetic world is out of alignment. And then it manifests into the physical tangible. So take the physical tangible experience as your teacher and then go, okay, physical tangible experience. This is what's happening. This is the energy behind it. So what inside of me is a match for that, right? Why is this experience happening? So what are these experiences of, I'm just going to call it rock bottom because that's what I keep hearing uh, energetically that people are feeling like the words coming in rock bottom, defeated, destitute, desperate, um, right? All very real human emotions that are super fucking uncomfortable to feel, 1,000%. But when we can lean into that and just let ourselves feel it, let ourselves have the long cries and the screams out in the middle of nowhere, or for me, one of the most therapeutic things I've done to release energy. And Sam and I had our retreat participants do it last year, and we're going to do it again this year at the retreat. Um, but for me, like a lot of energy gets like bogged down in here because I've had such a closed throat chakra for so long. And so there's still imbalances in there. And sometimes I just need to yell, fuck, like scream it, sing it, cry it. But that word for me is so like it's so therapeutic. And when I can literally be in my own safe, quiet space where I'm literally not around anyone. So for me, I'll get in my car and like go do it somewhere, like so there's no one around me that's being impacted by the releasing of this energy. But I will just yell fuck at the top of my lungs over and over. And then it's like, oh. And as I've done it, like every time I do it, I'm being shown like all of the shit that's just like bogging me down and weighing me down. And it's so beautiful. A lot of times I'll cry. Like it's such a therapeutic release. I highly recommend you do it. Because it gets all the gook out of the way. So then you can like start to recenter again and go, okay, I am hitting a rock bottom right now, but I'm going to trust the fall because I here's the thing also with like this game, this human game on this earth plane, is that because everything's energy, we can't hold higher timelines, higher experiences, higher realities in our body if we're still bogged down with our own stuff that we haven't processed. You can't. You can't sustain. So that's why like this whole like I tend to like all these like spiritual teachings. I feel like I undo a lot of what is being taught because a lot of it is so limited and still I can still see where it's being taught from that just doesn't resonate with me. And so again, you don't have to believe anything I'm saying, but take what resonates and ditch what doesn't. But there is this shit. What was I just saying? This is what happens to when I'm like half channeling and half like just speaking for my human. I lose a little bit what I was saying, but it's spiritual teaching. It'll come back to me. Because it will. Uh, damn it. I was in such a flow. This is what happens. But I'm just being real. So I'm just going to sit here for a brief moment and see if that drops back in or if there's anything else that is meant to drop back in. And here it comes right now. Love it. So there is a teaching about like raising our vibration, right? I remember when I first started entering this world and everything was all about raising your vibration and being high vibe. And I like quickly saw through that because I feel energy. And I'm like, God, I feel like a lot of people that are high vibe are faking it. And like, you can't fake energy. You can fake behavior. We can fake words. We can uh, operate from inauthentic actions, but the energy behind it doesn't lie. And so, like, I'm like, this whole raising your vibe thing, right? Like, oh, positive affirmations, da, 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 all these beautiful things. And I'm not negating these things as tools for self love and self help, and because there's a time and place for all these things. But what I started to really see in these sort of spiritual communities, people waking up, was that it was all about raising the vibe. And so don't focus on all the shit show out there, right? Because if you know about it, then you're going to feed it. And that is not true. We need to have a knowing of the collective shadow, just like we need to have a knowing of our own shadow. Otherwise, it runs the show, right? It's unconsciously running the show, which again just continues to create fear narratives and victimized mindsets. And so our bodies literally cannot hold higher timelines, meaning higher realities, if we're not willing to go into our unknowns, our shadows, and acknowledging them. That is how you sustain a high vibration. Because really, high vibe is just truth. It's not, I'm happy all the time. Life is wonderful. I'm so peaceful all the time. Yeah, no, that's not authenticity. If you are in this game, holy shit. Authenticity means you are feeling all of it. You're acknowledging that it's all part of the human journey, right? So high vibe is not like oh, everything is just rainbows and unicorns and butterflies. It's like high vibe is authenticity, and you become authentic when you allow yourself to embody the full spectrum of good, bad, and different, the yin, the yang, and everything in between. Um, Applications, just make sure I'm not missing anything. Um, so understand that in trusting the fall, you are trusting that the universe is actually helping you, giving you a little nudge. Hey, these are the things you need to, not need to. I don't like to use the word need because that's ego. These are the things that if you look at them a little bit deeper and surrender to it and allow yourself to feel it, guess what? That will release it. And then guess what? Now you can hold a higher reality for yourself. Now you can hold a higher timeline. Now your body is ready to sustain that. If our bodies aren't ready to sustain those higher frequencies of truth and love and authenticity, then we will continue to have experiences that are just showing us that we're still in fear and in lack and in scarcity. Um, so that's coming in really loud right now to really kind of drive that point home that a great way to be able to trust the fall is to say, okay, so literally what's happening right now. So acknowledge how you're feeling. Like, acknowledge this fucking sucks. This is a shit show. This is making me feel XYZ. I'm angry. I feel frustrated. I feel all whatever you feel, like acknowledge it 1,000%. That is how, again, we be able to release it. Go in your car away from everybody else. Go in the middle of nature where only the trees can hear you because they know how to alchemize it. And then thank that. Thank the space for helping to hold that space for you. But release it. And then simultaneously remember and trust that in the releasing of that, ooh, now your body's ready to hold some higher frequencies, some higher vibrations. And then again, look at everything that you're consuming in your physical diet, your mental diet, emotional diet, your visual diet, because that's all energy too. And so if we're consuming things that are like not healthy, and I know that that's kind of a thing, especially when we're in a state of like having no money, the last thing that we usually do is spend that money on healthy options for us. But ironically, it is one of the things that can serve us most in these times. Because again, Money is a reflection of your self-worth. Are you a valuable enough human? Are you valuable? Are you worthy to treat yourself with love? Even if it's expensive, right? From the money standpoint, are you worthy of that love? And I don't mean just like uh throwing your money at like fun vacations. That's part of it too. But I'm talking more on the day to day, especially those of us that are really struggling to just like survive. If we are in those moments of survival, also feeding our body very low vibrational things, it's only going to keep us in that cycle even more. It's literally just because you're now feeding into your body what your thoughts are thinking, what your emotions are feeling, and how you're seeing the world. And what this body consumes has a big impact on how we energetically show up for life and how life mirrors back to us. So these are all just kind of things intuitively coming in as I'm tuning in and tapping into people's different rock bottom experiences that they're having right now. If you're hitting rock bottom in a job, um, meaning like everything that's happening there is like a shit show, and it's just like I want out of this, right? That is your soul gently giving you some push to go do what is more aligned with your soul and your passion. And again, the messages will just get louder in the external world until we, the human, are ready to make a change. And again, I don't mean fixing and changing yourself. It's the human behaviors that are born from programs that are not us that we're becoming aware of and choosing to go about differently. But it's not about getting into this mindset of like, oh my God, I'm so broken. I have all these things I need to heal. I have all these things I need to fix. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's everybody's story, honestly, that's in this game. I don't know one human that doesn't have something that they need to fix and heal. It's part of the human experience. But if you can shift the perspective even a little bit more and say, all right, this just deserves my love and attention and intention. Not, I need to fix this. I need to heal this. It's like, what is this wound? What is this behavior showing me? Oh, it's showing me I need to love this part of my human. I need to accept that I created this behavior or this limiting belief based off of a lived experience, right? Fear comes from a multitude of things. It comes from the external world, it comes from our parents, it comes from people in our lives, and it also comes from lived experiences that something bad happened to us at one point, and so now there's a fear of that happening again. And so this is why I say fear is such a powerful teacher when we can learn to lean into it. And what is it actually here showing me about me? You can even say to the fear, um, okay, fear, or okay, insecurity, okay, limitation, limiting belief, okay, physical disease in my body. How can I love you more? Literally simply asking that and then allowing the information to surface when and how it's meant to for your human self. Trust. Trust that the information will come when you are ready. Trust that you will know what what the answer is when it comes in and reveals itself to you, and trust that it will come in the time that it's meant to and that you don't need to have that answer right now. Because even just you asking that question is already setting into intention and showing the universe that you want to love yourself more. Pure and simple. Just by you asking these parts of your body or this relationship that's falling away or this job, whatever it is, it's saying, all right, whatever experience it is, how can I show you more love? How can I love you more? How can I love myself more? Because love truly is the medicine. But again, we as a collective have a very distorted inner under superstanding of love because everything, mostly everything we've been taught, programmed with is fear. and then we call it love. And so love really, it's truth. Love is truth. Love is compassion. Love is honesty. It's accountability. But again, remember that accountability doesn't shame and it doesn't blame. It says, ooh, let me look at that behavior and let me lean into where that maybe came from. And if you do a human behavior that hurts someone else, well, take accountability for it. Take responsibility. Acknowledge that. Because that is also something like, here's another thing coming in really loud. So the victim in us will point the finger out there, right? But ironically, what the victim is most upset with is the things that our human has done to other people or affect or things that we've done that have impacted other people, where maybe they were our victim, consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, whatever. But really, that's what I'm being shown right now is that that victim character that lives in all of us. Yes, there's an aspect that's like really hurt by like the hurt that we've experienced from external people and things. But it's more this lack of forgiveness within ourselves of our own humanness, our own human behavior that has maybe had a negative impact on other people. So when you feel that victim part of you coming in, you can also ask he or she that. Like, all right, I feel you, I love you, I'm here for you. What am I being asked to forgive within myself right now? Because forgiveness frees people. Forgiveness frees. Resentment is literally poison. Resentment creates shackles and chains. And it's resentment towards ourselves and resentment towards the world. And I have watched this in my human journey with people that I love very much, that are very bogged down with resentment. And I have literally watched it poison them. Poison them. And so maybe ask yourself, what are you resentful of? What do you resent? What haven't you forgiven in your own human self? Because I promise you, when you start to like truly forgive that, the love that you can genuinely hold for the outside world, it's limitless. I know this because I feel it. I experience it. I can't hold it all the time because I am a human that still has a lot of layers that I'm processing. But I know what it feels like in my body, genuinely. I know what old versions of me tolerated in myself and other people, but it wasn't love, it wasn't acceptance, it was tolerating, which then when you get to the root of that, it's like, well, why am I tolerating? Oh shit, there's a fear there. And so there's probably a fear of losing a person. For me, that was like one of my big patterns is just tolerating a lot of bullshit, tolerating a lot of abuse. Um, but in my toleration, that was my consent to the other person's behavior. So again, helps me kind of break out of the victim mindset and go, oh shit, I allowed that because I tolerated it out of my own illusion and delusion of what loving another person means. How can I truly love another person if I'm literally there, sitting there, allowing myself to be abused and mistreated? How can I truly embody? Like, think about it on an energetic level with everything I've said about energy. How can my body sustain genuine love for other people if I'm not doing that for myself first? And that is a concept that is kind of like cliche that you hear a lot of people say, like, people can only love you to the degree that they love themselves. I wholeheartedly believe that. I do. And but I believe it in terms of an energetic and not in terms of what we as humans see love as an emotion as. It's an energy thing. Everything in my world, it's an energy thing. Like my boyfriend hears me say that all the time. And I'm like, it's an energy thing. I like when I don't know how to explain things, I'm like, it's just an energy thing. And like, it's just an energy. And so it is. It's just an energy thing. You literally cannot embody and sustain genuine, unconditional love and compassion and forgiveness and acceptance and all of those high vibe things for things in the external world if you're not embodying it for your human as well. Because if we're all truly one, well, then we're all truly one. So I think that that is all I'm going to share for now. I just want to see if there's anything else channeling, and I'm just hearing to like just recap. So briefly recap what I just talked about as best as I can. Trust the fall. Trust yourself. Trust what's happening in your life. And then trust what's falling away in your life. Because when you trust it and don't resist it, that's when new things can come into your life. But if you don't trust it, what you're energetically telling the universe, the experience, the person is that you're resisting that energy. And those of us that get energy know that anything we resist persists. So trust yourself to navigate whatever life seems to be throwing at you right now, because remember that it's your life. You do have the power to change your life. And really, the solution to that is loving your human. That's how you start to change your life, because you start to become super aware of um, where you haven't been loving your human that you actually thought you were. So again, that's where I say in these phases, the rose-colored glasses get shattered. I had that again happen to me this week. I'm like, man, I've been working on like loving myself hardcore, which I have, but I also am aware that I have so many layers upon layers of the programmed love we've been taught here, which is fear. So I have layers of fear to move through to be able to embody a sustainable energy of self-love. So that is the answer to changing your life, is loving yourself more. And perhaps you ask yourself to your higher self, I should say, your compassionate spirit guides, whatever resonates in that sense for you, the universe, creator. I don't know. For me, it's like literally all one and the same, but it is an energy. It's the unconditionally loving energy part of everything. Ask it where, ooh, this is a good one. Mm. Ask it to reveal where love has been an illusion. Ask your higher self, where have I been wearing rose-colored glasses? Because rose-colored glasses are our own delusions and illusions that we've created to stay comfortable and safe, but really it's just keeping us in the loop. So that's powerful. I like that. Ask and do it in whatever way resonates for you. Those of you that meditate, maybe ask it in a meditation. Those of you that I've taught journeying to or have learned journeying, set it as a journey. Say, reveal to me, higher self, where love has been an illusion in my life. And also understand and understand when you ask these questions, be ready for the answers. Because understand too that the shattering of your own illusions is very fucking uncomfortable. But I promise you, it is the literally the only way to free ourselves from this matrix, right? While still being in the physical body and experiencing this matrix. You have to crack your own code, your own matrix up here. And so it's like, oh my God, where are my illusions and delusions because illusions and delusions are created from fear. So it's just another way of asking to reveal your fear, but I'm being told and shown that it's going to deliver the message differently for people and a little bit more, maybe a rude awakening, but not for the people that are ready, is what I hear. And a lot of us aren't ready, unfortunately or fortunately. We all get the journey we need, but a lot of us aren't ready until we do hit rock bottom. And that's okay. Because that's why the experience is coming. Like, if I could express to all of you how fearful I was of losing Ed, like literally. Understand I spent 20 years with this individual, so half my lifetime. And if you asked me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, or 15 years ago, 20 years ago, what's one of your biggest fears? It's losing Ed. And when my rose-colored glasses shattered a few years ago, oh God, I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. Like it was horrible. I experienced and navigated grief on levels that like I can't even put into words. But I allowed myself to. Thank God. Thank me. Um, because in allowing myself to literally just surrender to the throes of what was happening and the truths that were being revealed. Ooh, I am so much freer now and so much more wise and so much more loving of myself and knowing of the patterns that he and I co-created together and using that as like my most powerful tool to not recreate that with anybody else in my life. And I have again. I did shortly after it. And that experience needed to happen to clear out the last of that karmic cycle and those karmic patterns within myself. And so again, it's like, thank you. I can literally sit here. That's why I always say like, um, I have gratitude for the grief. And the only way that I can authentically embody the gratitude is by allowing myself to feel the grief to magnitudes that I didn't even anticipate coming because understand that it wasn't just grieving Ed. I was grieving what I thought was. I was grieving what I thought we were going to have. I was grieving all these versions of me I had created and all of these behaviors and patterns. I was grieving my home in Arizona. I mean, the list goes on. Grief is a very catapulting experience if we allow ourselves to go there. Uh, and I still grieve in very different ways now, but I'm still grieving it. It's still a very real loss, change in my life, but I am so grateful for all of it, truly, 1000%. Because if I hadn't gone through that, I literally wouldn't be where I am today or who I'm becoming. Like literally. And holy fuck, I love who I'm becoming. And I love those older versions of me too, because had they not existed, this one wouldn't. So again, it's like literally being able to see like, holy shit, literally every experience in my life is here for me. Whoa. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That is where the freedom comes. Uh, so trust the fall. And don't be afraid to rise up after the fall. Because that's the beautiful thing about death and rebirth. You can't have one without the other. You will rise up again, a newer version, a clearer version, a more loving version, a wiser version. So also allow the rise to happen just as gracefully as the fall is meant to happen. And some falls are not graceful. Some are whack you out of nowhere. But do they really? Or were we just ignoring all the little things, the little clues, the little flags along the way? Because things don't just happen out of nowhere. I literally at this point in my journey, I'm a firm believer of that because I know that this universe, this game, this world, this dome, this beyond this, it's all energy. And so there's no coincidence. It's all energetic. Everything's energetic. Everything's energetic. So where's your energy at? Because that is what's going to come back to you over and over again. So can you love yourself more? Because that's the answer to the test. And I don't even like to look at life as a test anymore. There was a period of this journey that I would call it a test. I'd say life's really testing me right now. And it's like, is it though? Because like I personally, as someone like I hated tests in school. I had test anxiety, like so many of us. Like I hated tests. Most of us don't like tests. Tests are not usually like um a good thing, right? And so like I don't look at life as a test. I look at life as a reflection. Even just that simple shift of perspective, whoa, super freeing, super powerful, super enlightening, super crack the code to the matrix kind of thing. If you're willing to go there for yourself. So I love all of you. I feel with all of you for what you're navigating. And I say this, I chose my words carefully there because as an empath and understanding words have, frequency. And to me, it's more the tone behind the words that are the true determining factor of like what that energy is behind the message. But I also know words have power. And I've learned to shift from, well, I never say I feel bad for people or sorry for people because I don't. I feel empathy for and with people, but I don't feel sorry for us because I know that we are badass spiritual beings that put everything into our life path, knowing that we're badass spiritual beings and our human forgot it. But I don't feel sorry for people because in doing that, what am I actually doing? I'm actually sending that energy at that person and at that situation. Just like I really try not to feel, I don't worry about people nearly as much in my life anymore as I used to. I really don't because I'm like, oh, they're badass God consciousness creator, just like me. And if I worry about XYZ, all I'm doing is sending fear consciousness at them. And I'm really on an energetic level disempowering them because I'm not seeing the badass conscious, or I won't say conscious, we're not all there, but the badass uh consciousness that is in there, the God source creator consciousness that's in every single one of us, right? It's like I'm basically validating the victim that they already feel like they're living from if I feel sorry for people or if I feel fearful for people. It's like, no, they're a godlike being just like me. And I trust. I trust them to navigate whatever it is they put into their human path. And I will be here as a support system and as guidance when invited or when I feel like called to share in this type of platform. But it's like, nah, like not worrying about people. I cannot tell you the amount of fear that is lifted off of my body. I used to worry about everyone. Because again, one of my biggest fears was losing Ed. So I'd worry about all the different ways that that could happen. He was in the military, he was a cop, right? There were definitely things that could have happened to him that would have constituted in me losing him. Um, and it's like when we worry about anything, I'm not even just talking about other people, when we worry about anything, we're literally draining our energy. Again, it's giving our power away. I don't mean bypass your fears. That's different. Yes, acknowledge your fear and acknowledge when worry is coming up and see what are you really worried about. Usually we're worried about how it's going to impact and affect our life. That's the worry. And that's why, like, I find it so uh, constrictive on an energetic level to worry about people because I feel like I'm limiting them by sending that energy. I'm limiting them by sending them fear and by seeing them as less than, meaning like, oh, they can't handle what comes up in their life. Dude, I literally feel like we can all handle. We are all equipped. And I'm not denying that um, we've also chosen into certain uh, handicaps as humans, certain things that we put into our path here. But again, that just shows me how powerful the spirit is behind that human because they put that into their path. And it's like, whoa, they're badass. You wanted to come and experience that because you know deep down you're a badass. So I'm going to hold that trust for you, even most especially when you're navigating a shit show. I remember when I was going through all this breakup at the beginning, and you know, the people in my life, my loved ones, I know they didn't fully know how to support me all the time. Um, but literally what I kept telling them and what I've pretty much said to anybody with anything I've navigated now that's challenging in my life is like, just trust me. Just trust me. Just trust me. Even when I'm falling the fuck apart, please just trust that I have this. Because that's honestly the most loving thing you can do for me right now. Because if you are looking at me like I'm a victim or that I'm not going to make it through this, or I'm not going to be able to handle it, or that you're worried about me, like if you are looking at me through that lens, I can feel that. And that is not, that's your fear. That's not love. So can you love me enough to trust me right now? And that I know I can navigate this human experience. So trust, my friends, is to me, it's synonymous with love. Trust and truth are all love to me. That's how you love people. That's how you love yourself. That's how you learn to love your life. Good, bad, and different. Trust and trust the phone. I think that's it for now. Love y'all. I gotta remember how to like disconnect from this. So bear with me.